I'm the author of The Entrepreneur Next Door. This was a lifelong project for me. It was a tremendous passion. It is the story of 1,509 entrepreneurs and what it took for them to be successful within their various roles. I will bring to life this information, the storytelling, the funny epiphanies, the ahas, and your people will be able to learn from this and have a great experience. My wife, Renee, and I, and our 3 children, we were at the Hilton Waikoloa Village in Hawaii about 3 years ago. We're vacationing. So, for 2 weeks, I am being this wonderful, warm, accommodating, agreeable individual. I'm doing everything one way, the absolute perfectly right way. My wife and I were boarding the ramp in Kona. We're getting on our United flight coming back. She puts her hand on my chest. She says, "Bill, stop for a second." I go, "Renee, what is it?" She says, "Who's getting on the plane with me?" And I said, "Whatever do you mean?" And she says, "Is this Bill, the guy I fall in love with all over again the last 2 weeks in this honeymoon-like environment? Or is this Bill the butthead?" To which I said, "Which would you prefer?" We have the ability to change our behaviors for a relatively short period of time. I was talking to a gentleman earlier this morning who's been married for 7 months. Do you think the personality that he was when he was dating is going to be the same personality that he is when he is married? Okay, so when we are dating, do you think that we're more aggressive and assertive on a date or more accommodating and agreeable on a date? Well, we happen to be more accommodating and agreeable. If you can't figure out who you're marrying after 5 years of dating, how can you possibly know who you're hiring after a 30-minute interview? It is categorically, undeniably impossible, because the person that is showing up for that interview is not the same person that's going to show up for the job. So it's fairly easy to appraise our appearance. It's easy because it's highly subjective. Is our appearance more changeable or is our appearance more stable? It is highly changeable. I could come here tomorrow and be wearing a full head of hair. And I say the word, you've laughed once. My wife, who was the intellectual in the family, she was reading a Discovery magazine the other day. She said, Bill, there's some new research. They've discovered the men who are bald in the front of their heads are known to be great thinkers. And I said, I think I've read something about that. And then I was reading in Men's Health, and they find that if you're bald in the back of your head, that you must also be a great lover. And I said, really? And she says, yeah, and if you're bald in both, then you just think you're a great lover. Here's a quote from Peter Drucker. It's pretty fascinating. He says, executives spend more time on managing people and making people decisions than on anything else, and they should, because no other decisions are so long-lasting and their consequences are so difficult to make, and yet, by and large, executives make poor promoting and staffing decisions. By all accounts, their batting average is no better than .333. So when I am speaking to groups, I probably know as much about their business, their issues, their challenges, as oftentimes they do. So when I'm doing a presentation, that presentation really comes alive because I get to respond and relate to them on almost a one-on-one basis. And the comments that we get from the people that I speak in front of is, they say, Bill, it was like, you were standing inside of my head and you knew everything that was going on. An example of a competitive individual would be more like a Rambo. An example of an accommodating person would be more like a Mr. Rogers. Now, when you think about it, have you ever called somewhere and you get like a Rambo receptionist? It's not a pleasant experience. Now, so when you think about our businesses, we need our Rambos in sales or marketing, or a little bit of that Rambo. We need our Mr. Rogers for the most part in the back end of our business. Our business is based really on organizational development. It has everything to do with the people side of business. And when you consider our businesses today, we measure everything from the kilowatts we use to absenteeism to turnover rates to ROI. And what we do is we apply various systems and degrees of metrics to make the people side more measurable. My daughter Rebecca gave me a stone. And on it, the stone has the word passion. As you can tell, I am absolutely, resolutely, categorically, undeniably passionate about my topic. No different than you are passionate about your businesses. What's interesting is not so much the word on the stone as it is the shape of the stone. It reminds me of a time I grew up in Peoria, Illinois, which is located on the Illinois River. And 45 years ago, my father and I used to go fishing. While he was fishing, I used to throw rocks in the water, which is probably why he never caught a whole lot of fish. One day, my dad picked up a stone, he threw it, hit the water, and it skipped and skipped and skipped. And I said, that is so neat, why don't my stones do that? And he said, Bill, it's not so much how you throw the stone as it is the stone you choose to throw. And I find it ironic that here I am 45 years later in the same exact business. It does not matter how much training and development you put in your people. If you are training and developing the wrong people, they will sink. If you train and develop the right people, they will almost always exceed your expectations. With that, I thank you for your invitation today. I sincerely wish you all go forward with passion. Thank you so much.